Welcome to Chapter 5, Reorienting. Last time, they went to see Stella. It turns out Stella's terrified of spooky ghosts. Who would have known? What do you mean, I don't know? Stella's voice was low and cold. Certainly enough to shed a shiver through me. My eyes snapped to her, and then back to Fang, and then back to her, and then back to Fang, and then back to the caveman, and I wondered, why is he out here? Who hadn't moved from his spot. Listen, every time someone does something like this, I go to that, right? It's like, why are you looking at her if you're not going to do anything with it? Why weren't you already looking at her? Who hadn't moved from her spot. She was slumped on the floor with arms limp and wings too low, causing a fit of splay out on the floor. Just say splay out. Like, don't double up on this. This is literally repeating sentence fragments, and it never looks good. You really need to know what you're doing to make that land. I don't know. Listen, I'm luckily getting to the part where I know what I don't know, and I hope that expands so that I always know when I don't know. It's good to know when you don't know, you know. They look like a puppet that has strings cut. Why don't you just describe it like that? Why don't you just use this and get rid of this? Like, get rid of the physical description and just go for the cute metaphor. One part of my mind saw the look in her eyes and recognized it. Confusion, disorientation, all some other... You know, like we just read about this. Like, I seriously have an issue with this fic, switching POVs and just repeating shit. Goddamn, stop it. Stop! I recognize the state. Yes, you just recognized the... No doubt was seared to my mind, and for a very long time. The look of distress, confusion, the internally real memories of her meltdowns. But I was maybe want to reach out and place a hand on her shoulder, just like she did for me, a little bit all at once. I just remembered, you know, something I really need to have is I need to have a list of like fics I should come back to at some point in the future because they're not technically done yet. So I'm just gonna quickly throw that together. Because it's something I often forget about, right? Some of these fics are not done yet. And it would help to have a little la look-see from time to time on things that aren't done yet. Wah, 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 wah. The only reason I remember that song as much as I do is because every single time it goes through my head, I'm like, Bishop, which is the bus will be here. Alright, let's update the latest read list with another latest read list. And we can move on. I'm just saying that, like, you know, you're reading through all this stuff, you're having a lot of fun, you're kicking little feeties at the air. You know, I could pause the video here, but I'm not very professional. I'm not professional. You people should know this by now. Like, you come into my room, you ask me all these questions, and you're like, Safi. And it's like, Binch. Why are these double-spaced? I complain about that all the time. And it's like, Safi, you're the one that double-spaced. Okay, I need to open all these fics. You gotta take a look at all of them. And you're gonna figure it out. This one was over, and I think that one was over before I started yet 2020. Man, ending 1.1. Right? Ending 1.1 remains like such a good opening fic because it actually had a point and the thing it did. And then we went into a couple that are just like, we're doing this, and we're doing this, we're doing this. Let's put it at the bottom. Let's just put it at the top. It'll be nothing to something. That's a whip. I say whip. 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 And then there was, oh, that was Inco Noted. Nothing to something was bad, but then Inco Noted was like, all right, you know. I wouldn't say Inco Noted was like especially good. But it was, you know, a good read. I picked that thing up. I went, tasty, tasty. And then the guy made a sequel to it. Made a frickin' squeakquel. You can't just show up to my house with a squeakquel. Is this even on my read list? It's going on the read list. It's going on the read list. I don't care. It's not done yet. Oh, it is done. This was done for a year. Did I not see Safi, why are they like this? This is not how you do things. Whatever, man. Punch Drunk Gator is not done yet. Man, I'm sad about that. Punch Drunk Gator is not updated yet. It's not updated for a year. It is officially not updated for over a year and a month, 13 months, I guess. And that's really sad, because Punch Drunk Gator, man, oh, it just had that touch. I want to kiss that Snoot. We're not done with that yet, are we? I don't give a damn about those extended chapters. They're not that interesting. Nothing else matters. It's technically not done. I guess we're putting it on the list then. And technically the story game. I don't like my life. I don't like living as much as I do. I might do the bonus stuff off stream no matter what. Nothing that something inflicted psychic damage. I think that says a lot. You know, normally I would cut the stuff out at this point, but I think that if you're here, right, if you're here, you deserve the right to just skip forward, man. Just skip forward. Anyway, and like I said, we're not even gone anywhere. I might as well put a timestamp, like a start at 6 minutes. And yet, I don't know. Those last words she said as an answer to Stella's question, it caused my face to scrunch up, like I'd smelled something foul, like a lie. What the hell do you mean you don't know? You know damn well why. It was the shit with your family. The band not working out, Trish and Reed abandoning you, prom, Naomi fucking with all of us, and fucking with me. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. These problems matter, which I will always repeat. Oh shit, that reminds me. Ah, man, I'm so busy lately. I don't have time for things, and I don't mentally have the capacity to give myself time. Wait, they sent that shit at midnight? What the hell's wrong with these people? Get out of here. Alright, we're just gonna fast forward through this because we know where this is going. The capital fucking advice us at the end of the rope. God knows, I couldn't just forget the part where she was starting to feel calm. I dropped the bit about Naomi. Why were you dropping that anyway? What was the master plan here, buddy? Was there a master plan? Or were you just like, I want to get this off my chest so I don't have to worry about it anymore? No, it's there's like checkers. Checkers is a really lame game to manipulate people. Like, come on, at least you could do chess. I don't know. I'm not saying checkers is any worse for it. Checkers has some interesting fun stuff with like how you can jump over multiple pieces and basically get a whole combo wombo, and there's kings, which are a more interesting promotion than most of the stuff in chess because people generally go for queens. But yeah, she broke, screaming and smashing my apartment. I mean, at that point, it does feel like it was, you know, Naomi that did it, because that is like the immediate cause and effect. But, and I told her Naomi was right. So then it sounds more like you. Like you lost faith in Fang, and as a result, Fang wins this. Is the reality of the fact that things about need fixing that much I agree with Naomi. As quickly as it came on, the sensation of bewilderment and disappointment Fang melted away. I like her. You're like, I can't believe. Oh wait, it was me. Ugh. So basically, it was a lot of stuff. Man, I said it to her to be bad. I was a gold medalist in doing that. Mostly because you just never thought about anything. You were just like a passive, prideful asshole who thought he always knew best and just did whatever. And figured it would work out. That's what ending 1 is about. It says it's better this way. It's like Anon does not have to change his ways. He can stay a lazy, prideful asshole who thinks he knows everything. You know, like a 4chaner. He's like, man, I figured I'm pilled. I know everything now. And at the same time, he's the dumbest idiot, and all he knows is what other people tell him to do. Like, if you're gonna be like that, the least you can do is be like that for yourself. And know what you're doing. Gain that wisdom. I mean, he's 18 years old. What the hell am I expecting? Like, if you're 30 years old and you're still doing that shit, that's a whole different story. But come on, Anna's like 18 years old. He got sucked into a world he didn't understand. And as a result, came out with some opinions he didn't know how to handle. So it only makes sense that with his brain full of things like, I'm a lanklet and I can't do anything, that he wouldn't do anything. They would be stuck. That's the game. He got controlled by an extraterrestrial controlling his brain and letting him travel through time. That's spooky, man. That'll change you. I guess if I could really understand their own motivations. I mean, admittedly, that stuff takes time. That's why psychologists exist. They help you figure that stuff out. Untangle that yarn. Maybe it was both. I was a moron. But I could tell I didn't have to I think you have a complete enough picture to kind of get the vibe of things. Realization was also my girlfriend before things went to shit. Or tried to. She should despise me. But for reasons I couldn't understand, she didn't. Or didn't seem to. I love how much of all of this is just Anon thinking to himself. Like, so many of these fucking characters are just constantly thinking instead of talking. Like, talk more. Like, you'd be surprised how much books are actually just characters talking and interspersing that with thoughts and feelings and reactions. You know, the back and forth. Because a brain can only do so much, right? You can only think so much. At some point, you gotta talk to someone, throw it out there, and then have it bounce back. Like a game of squash. Or tennis, I guess, if you're one of those people. I don't want to talk about those people. I guess we're the same. You kind of are. In a weird way, you're both, like, very apathetic and pretending that you're the best people ever. You're both like, oh, I'm great. I'm gonna do fantastic. And you're not actually doing anything to make anything better or go anywhere. What is she saying, Adam? I mean, like, I feel like at this point, right? At this fucking point, you've been sitting there for like 15 minutes thinking. She probably thinks that Fang is giving you like a whole tirade, you know? I brought my attention back to the moment because for some reason I just have infinite thinky times like I'm a goddamn anime character. I look at Fang again. Still totally out of it, muttering to herself. I look forward to try and listen more closely, but it's all just apologies layered on apologies. Nothing useful. You know, apologies to Nasa, Stella, Reed, blah, blah. You know, everyone that we know. Cycling targets, she continues not to provide the useful information. I mean, is she just really saying anything? She's just really upset and out of it. She's upset. I flinched with a less than pleased response. I feel like considering that she just did a reading for you and found out that ghosts are real, I think Stella is taking this remarkably well. She's also very directed with her anger, which, you know what? I guess that's a, you know, it's a usable response. I flinched, okay. Oh, wait. I would like to point out that another big problem I have with this is at times, this guy does not handle three-way conversations well. If it's swapping POV, I know it's a bit of a thing, and you are allowed to be redundant there, because let me, hold on, let me stop the music. Serious writer advice talk here. People don't think of it like this, but writing at some points becomes this mechanical dance of, there's a reason why I say don't over-describe physical actions, because, again, it turns it into a game of Twister. When you are dealing with making clear to your audience what something is, prioritize that over the artistic beauty of things. If your statue falls apart because you refuse to put in the prerequisite scaffolding, either redesign your statue so that you don't need it, or put it in. It being a practical experience is far preferable to being artsy-smartsy and fucking shit up. I don't care if it's redundant to include he said, she said. That stuff clarifies and makes it obvious and apparent what's going on. Also, I hate how much the fic community just has an allergy to A, putting quotes after actions, or just in general having quotes share their space with actions. It's just so annoying. Like, these people are cowards when it comes to that. It's like, no, we have to put it in a new line. And they don't even know how to, like, leave open quotations and then continuing with the quotation in, like, new lines to keep it one speaker. It's so dumb. She startled and brought her head up. Path of funeral. Fang, how the fuck are you crying? You could just make shit up here now. I'm trying to think about doing it, but none of it's right. What do you mean none of it's right? What does that mean? Stella asked, a tinge of confusion slipping through the general agitation. I don't think agitation really sums it up, buddy. That's crude. I'm not sure. What do you mean, Fang? She shook her head violently. Going back to good old Banshee stuff. It was Naomi, right? It was all Naomi. You said it yourself. Or was it... They heard her say that. Again... If you put this on that line with they, it's obvious that it's Fang. Why are you like this? It was Naomi, right? It was all Naomi. No, you said. I felt a spine down my chill at the mention of those worthless, terrible words I gave her. But just as I thought, she would zero in on on me is the real problem. She moved past it, which I feel like I should correct her. That's like the healthy thing to do, but you know what they say: eat the crow when it's old and crunchy, and nice and chewy. Because the people left, but she wasn't able to find why. Because to some extent, it was a fucking psychological reaction. You were freaked out. You were not, you know, you were in a psychosis. You were disconnected from reality in any sense of reason. I don't know what to tell you, man. You were going nuts. Like, there is no reason. You were just very emotional and lost control. That's the situation. You were frustrated with the fact that nothing went anywhere. That the way you lived didn't work anymore. She's, they're just hopping around. I can't really follow what she's thinking. It's not exactly coherent, Stella. Stella hopped loudly through the blanket off of her. Annoyance swinging back out over confusion, she pushed herself on the bed and strode towards the closet. Reaching it, like, why are we including all this shit? Like, I get that Fang is still. I feel like you could just ignore this. Like, this implies that Anna is just switching back and forth the whole time, which doesn't work. Just let one character take the scene for now. If Fang is just over there doing nothing, you don't need to tell me that Fang is doing nothing. It's implied by the fact that nothing happens with Fang. yanked it open. Oh my god, we didn't need our parents running in here. Stella, what are you doing? I'm playing a stupid game of telephone right now, and I don't want a damn answer. Oh, she's pulling out a Luigi board! There's entire fields of mysticism in the occult for communing with spirits. We're gonna try them. If Fang is here, she could talk with you. There has to be some way to communicate with the other side, dog. Just plug a phone into her mouth. An old-timey phone. She explained, finishing with an annoying grunt like, my question was simply the stupidest. It kinda is. I legitimately forgot how weird she could be, and to be honest, I should have known about Luigi boards. My attention turned to the pale terror beside me, whose mutterings, why did you describe her earlier if you're just gonna bring her us? She didn't do anything. Still fucking being an idiot. She just looked confused and exhausted. Man, she's a ghost. It's all emotional. So, at the very least, she doesn't need a nap. She just needs to think things over. She can't even sleep. Shit sucks, man. That's about it to do this, right? Well, if anyone would know, I guess it'd be Stella. After all, Fang's a ghost. Wait, was that the reason why we were experimenting? Well, I mean, that sounds insane, but it kind of makes sense. Anon, you're talking to a fucking ghost, and you're telling me I'm insane? Also, aren't Ouija boards like little toys? They're sold as toys, right? Now, they probably have a bigger history than that, but hey. Stella stood back out from the doorway of a closet and whipped around, holding a dusty tan box with all sorts of symbols in the... Whoa, I don't think I recognize a single word. Luigi. A Waluigi board? You know those can only summon evil spirits. No! They can summon handsome spirits! I guess you would be the kind to like Waluigi. You're gonna try and talk to Fang with a Luigi board? If I'm being honest, I was expecting crystals or incense or some shit. Well, shit from the movies. Maybe that was retarded. I mean, this should work, because Fang can move small objects. No, we're gonna communicate with Fang, and I'm getting some damn answers! Stella grunted. Why is she grunting? Shouldn't she be, like, squealing and wheezing like I am? You know, this kind of, like, frustrated, come on, already! Your self-gratified... Why is she smiling? I've never done it before. I feel like you should smirk after this turns out to work, and you're like, look, Anon, I was right! Well, good news, it isn't hard. Now clear some space! The ghost needs space, Anon! I shimmied back towards the door, using my hands to guide Fang to move. Why? At least she was present. And I feel that if your ghost girlfriend is gonna start going into psychoses, even as a spooky ghost, you might wanna find a way to get her out of here. That sounds like a hazard. She already pulled your jacket. She might push you off next time. Stella slapped her hand onto the carpet and whisked the tarot cards out of the way, sending them flying. Jesus Christ. Woman is like, we're doing this shit. Scots couldn't have been cheap, right? I mean, they're probably sturdy enough to survive a fall or two. Laying the box down, she opened it, pulling out a palm-sized pointer piece with a hole in the middle, and then the board. The board looked like the kind of thing you'd see in a B-tier or lower movie where some erotic teenagers try to communicate with the spirits from beyond. There's usually enough about them getting haunted. I mean, I know the ghost is here, so hey, if Fang's gonna haunt Stella, at least that would make communication easier, I guess? It's a little later for that. Couldn't help but smirk at that. Everyone's fucking smirking now. Come on, Fang. Say something snarky so you can smirk. Alright, Anna, you sit here. Okay. I sit next to her. Although Fang tries to stop me with a grasp of my wrist. It's worth a try, right? It's a fucking Luigi board, Fang. What's gonna happen? We're gonna get an Italian plumber coming by? Jeez. I felt like I should have been more supportive or better at selling Fang on the idea, but I had no damned idea what to even say. I mean, Luigi hunts ghosts. I know that he has a vacuum cleaner for that and all, he's the poltergeist and everything. But, like, you know, he's also afraid of ghosts. You know, you could probably meet him in the middle. Doesn't he have, like, a ghost dog nowadays? So, like, hey, Fang, we can make this work. Luigi is the perfect man for the job. Fang it sets under the basis. I released my hand. Let it go. Okay. I don't know why Fang's so afraid of this fucking board. It's so dumb. I mean, I guess Fang is just like, I don't want to talk right now, but that's a whole different story. Sitting down next to Stella. Okay, Fang, sit here! Stella said, pointing to the other side of the board. Okay. Okay, she's there. She's crawling over and all fours. Fang, stop being so dramatic. I know you're a spooky ghost, but sheesh. This isn't difficult. The basic idea is that we place our hands on the market, and Fang, the spirit we're trying to communicate with, guides us to spell out words. That's, you know, question answer, easy, right? She's got an explanation of things. Sharp edge. Wait, she can just point at shit. Why didn't you figure this out earlier? Maybe going with a spiritual mysticism drug to help her relax. I mean, Fang could also push it once just to prove that she's actually there, you know. However, Pan, I would have calmed down. If I recall correctly, the board has, like, the alphabet on it, and, like, yes, no. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. Ouija, also known as a talking board, spirit board, or witch board. Oh, it is the Ouija. The Ouija board is incorrect. Yes, no, goodbye, and the numbers 1, 0 through through, yeah, 1 through 0. Oh no, these have been around for a while. Apparently they were around since 1100 AD in China. Of course China had this. Motherfucking printing press with LUIGI boards. What the hell, man? No, the story I heard doesn't seem to be true according to the Wikipedia. So whatever, man. I don't really care anyway. It's just a cute detail that it's some people sell it as a toy. Because to an extent, apparently, like, you yourself can be influenced and you start pushing certain directions and you're, like, following groupthink. It's really funky. It's kind of spunky. Alright. As you got an explanation for things, the shop or agitation showed. Maybe doing the spiritualist mission shop helped to relax. If so, then going along with this, however it panned out, might help calm things down. Maybe, Fang said, staring at the pointer piece. Doesn't the pointer piece usually have like little wheels under it, like little ball bearings? I could try to move it without help. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. Of course it's a good idea. It's the whole. Of course it's a good idea. That's the whole point of a Ouija board. Did you hear that? No. Fang's saying that you're gonna try to move the pointer piece on her own rather than the whole guiding hand thing. She's a poltergeist? No, you told me she was a ghost, not a poltergeist. Gosh, you're not gonna get out of my poltergeist board. That's a vacuum cleaner. Yeah, poltergeist, same thing, right? In limited capacities. We were like experimenting around for the last week or two. Fang can move stuff, at least for a little while. Fang's out widen at the realization that Fang could not only be heard and seen by me, but also could just fuck shit up. She was clearly wrong numbers on that. Yeah, she's a powerful spirit to move. That's better. Ouija boards get a better rep because teenagers would use them and they would have one person in the group try to force the results. Has one of these things actually been used to communicate with ghosts, or is it always someone helping out? I mean, I feel like, to an extent, right? I feel like you're looking for ghosts, so you'll find them, as they say. Consider world has the most unimpressive look. I see that it's taken. Well, Fang's an actual ghost, and you told me they can move objects. Fair. She got me on that one. Even Fang seemed amused at how thoroughly I just was shut down, given that I could see a small, weak smile. Finally, there's that smirk. Alright. Fine. Fair enough. Let's just get the show the road, then. Alright. Fang, I'm going to ask, why did you do it? Fang suddenly leaned away from Stella like she was going to avoid a question. But they started falling apart like before. She folded her legs and crossed her arms because we're gonna be annoying about the pronoun ship, but we're not gonna fix it. Squeezing them tight against the torso. Or was that Stella doing it? I don't fucking know who's doing anything anymore, man. Fang stared at the Ouija board. Her eyes, there we go, flitting back and forth, because everyone just looks at everyone in these. At one point, her lips peeled back, exposing her teeth as her brow furrowed, but quickly shifted back to the general sense of they're thinking. Just give them a minute. Stella nodded in response. You shouldn't hurry, spirits. Can we get a milkshake? I'll drink it, but you know. After what felt like for us was just waiting for something to occur, Fang finally shifted, reaching out a hand and placing it on the points at the bottom of the board. She let out an exhale, which from effort began to drag the piece. Stella gasped, her eyes snapping fully open and one hand flying to her beak. The other grabbing my shoulder. Anon! I thought you were drunk! What? All this time you were thinking that? God damn it, Stella. This is why people get fucking haunted in occult shit, because they're all like, oh no, it's not real, and then they get fucking haunted, you fucking idiot. For all her apparent belief in mystic spiritual crap, she didn't actually expect any of this to start happening. It was kind of funny. As I heard the girl muttering something about an intelligent response. Go on, Fang, you got it. Fang's brows scrunched down as she concentrated hard on moving the object. Even if it was a small piece of wood, it might have been the single most substantial object she's touched before as a ghost. I don't think it's hollow. Like, it is sizable for what it's worth. It's not a little dingus. I mean, I guess it's how thick it is. I think the thicker ones have little wheels under them. I think the small ones, the flat ones, are like just light up. They just breezily slide around. Well, let me hear that is. The piece slowly glided to the center of the board and moved towards N. What's it gonna spell? Naomi Nasa? The piece shifted towards MT. Back and forth she moved it, forming nothing coherent. On one hand, I was surprised how much she was able to manipulate the thing given prior experiments. On the other hand, it was clear her answer was the same as before. She didn't know at all that she... Why are you blaming Mo? What did Mr. T do to you? Fang let go of the piece in a deep but fast breath, before her hands grabbed the sides of her head. Face grunted down frustratedly, boring right into the carpet, tried to think. Hang on. Whatever thought she was trying to work with, she eventually wilted. Manic frustration flowed out of her entire body, drooped, and an agitated Claire turned into a look that could only be described as sorrowful. Given how deflated she became, I was surprised that she didn't just slide down through the floor. The final sigh, she once again reached for the piece. This time there wasn't a strong sense of strong concentration or motivation, only a sense of resignation. Fang moved to the point of peace, with each letter moving slower than the last, clearly draining whatever energy she had built up. I'm sorry. With the hold of the piece finally landing over Y, Fang's hand slipped through the wooden pointer and she let out an exhausted huff. I doubt it was the answer that Stella was wanting. And I certainly wasn't sure why it was so hard for Fang to settle on the culprit in the situation. Because, Anon, this is something that's been happening over the course of weeks, months, with a lot of people involved. Like, Naomi caused a bunch of machinations, but she wasn't that involved before then, and things were already bad. And to an extent, it's the students at school that messed up her life. It's the teachers that were, supportive as far as she was concerned. There's Trish to an extent. You could blame Uncle Mo for, kind of letting things slide, or Ripley. There's so many people to blame here that I don't know myself, really. I don't know whatever due to being tired or whatever was shame, I didn't know. But that felt like, that's what you needed to get out. They were asking a question. I nodded, agree with her. Hopefully that'll be enough for now. Stella tightly squeezed my shoulder. I'd forgotten that she was still grabbing onto me, but that's probably because my arm has gone numb. The now grip was hardening enough to make me wince. Looking at Stella, I found her staring, unblinking at the now dormant piece, fully expecting it to continue to move. So long with no further activity, she finally blinked, because everything happens finally in this. Clearing herself in the apparent daze and looked at me. Like, the problem I have with stuff like this, right, is this is a very powerful thing to add to a sentence. It can make a lot of punch. The problem is these people use it a lot to, indicate order of operations, and it ruins the strength of these things. Because it doesn't fucking matter most of the time. Like, these people are like, yeah, you need a salty flavor, right? So they just keep adding salt to everything they put in the soup pot. So the whole thing gets too salty. She realized she was skating my shoulder and finally released it, leaving behind an unpleasant tingling sensation. She brought up her legs to her chest with both hands clamping around her snout, staring at the board. Fang and I watched her for a moment as she was considering what was spelled out for her, face flashing between emotions subtly. I feel, right, if you had a spooky ghost that did something horrible to you and they were sorry, how would you feel about that? Because it's like they're dead, This is what they spent their energy on in the afterlife. And it's like, that's a complicated mess, A dead person, you can't do anything with that. But if they're a spooky ghost, what the hell do you do? After a long, quiet moment, she released her snout from her hands, although her eyes kept staring at the board on the floor. Frustration, anger, sadness, and regret. Is that it? Well, that's all they have energy for. Something that we've been trying to figure out. Moving stuff is hard. In fact, I can only do it a little before getting a bit tired. So this wasn't really going to work anyways. Yeah, not really, no. Stella seemed devastated. She squeezed her arms until a bit tighter about herself before she stared at, more accurately, though, the LUIGI board before us. The excitement and high of actually being able to do some supernatural shit for a brief moment gave way to the dull, unpleasant reality that despite being present as a spirit or ghost or whatever, Fang was still just Fang. Still just some dude, really. She didn't have all or any of the answers. Which is honestly quite depressing. You finally get a ghost, and the ghost is like, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't have any answers. Stella was stuck right alongside Fang, left out of the known why anything and everything had happened. This was the single most substantial amount of moving around object outside of the roof I had seen by a large margin, but without follow-up, I had no idea if this was a one-off or if she was slowly getting the ability to move more stuff. Hey Fang, can you do my dishes now? That'd be great. Either way, I don't think the LUIGI would. Listen, Fang, you're awake like 8 hours when I'm having a big nap. You could just do the dishes then. I'll be fine. Even if Fang had a good answer to you, I think it'd be too hard for them to be able to do it. It's like expecting someone to answer via, smoke signals or something. I said, clawing for an example. Smoke signals? What's the best example I had? Is that a caveman thing with fire? Stella, isn't that what the dinosaurs did around here? What the hell? You're in America. Dinosaurs were native here. Wouldn't they use... Ugh, whatever, man. Oh, Stella, mocking my ancestors now? I can't believe it. I think I'm gonna leave it at that. Let me go to the bathroom.